So this is just going to be a little short video, and obviously from the title you can see it's all about L'Orchestre's Bouquet Encore, which is from the newish range, the electronic ones, and obviously from first seeing it I was very curious about it. It does have all the kind of elements I would love in a fragrance, and then from trying it from Corrine, who is all olfactory stories, that's the one. I was kind of in love with it, and then very kindly this was one that was bought for me for my birthday from most of you guys, so thank you for that. So it is a very special fragrance. Now for me, the listed notes, I'm not entirely sure. I get something not a lot different, but I get a lot more than what's listed. For me, this very much opens with the beautiful, strong, sticky, gorgeous orange blossom, which is absolutely gorgeous. And also in that orange blossom, for the first 10-15 minutes or so, there's like a we call them fruit gums over here in the UK, but like a juicy, sticky kind of orangey, chewy sweet. Don't know how else to describe them to American people. It's like a chewy, like a Haribo kind of thing, but it's they like all different fruits, and it's orange. Anyway, that's what I get, this kind of sweet but bright, vibrant stickiness, and it's gorgeous. Also, what starts to come through, and I think this is where it kind of moves into the mids, you get this huge blast of pepper, and but it's not a pepper that makes you sneeze or anything, but it's definitely there and adds this warmth to it. Now obviously as you start to move into the mids, like I was saying with that pepper, that starts to really warm and spice it up, and it changes. This is not like a day in the life of one. This is a fragrance I know quite well now, but yeah, the pepper, and there's a little bit of woodiness, but you also start to get like a sweet bubblegummy, well, not overly sweet, but like a tuberose coming through, and I'm sure that sort of starts to mute that sort of fruit gum thing about it, and it starts to transition into becoming much kind of smoother and sort of not overly floral, but like a sweet kind of sweet summer's garden, I suppose you could look at it as. Now orange blossom is not listed, but I get a tuberose kind of orange blossom blend. There is the jasmine is listed. You do get hints again of a sweeter jasmine, but what starts to happen as you go through the mids, like I've said, this reminds me of other fragrances. It's not the same, but it as it kind of transitions, you get a couple of hours in, and that does start to remind you of 100 Silent Ways. It's not the same, don't get me wrong, but the way the vanilla and the tuberose kind of soften and take over, it has that same sort of vibe, and that is a very kind of sensual, beautiful veil of a fragrance. It's gorgeous, and that's what happens to this. And then it stays like that for, I mean, it does sort of change. There's little waves, you get waves of the spices coming in and out, but it does kind of change like that for about 4 or 5 hours, and it's only in the far dry down, which we'll talk about next, that it starts to get a little bit different again. Now as you kind of hit the dry down, there's no woods listed, but I get like there's a slight hint of a creaminess under it all. Now obviously the vanilla, but it's almost like a freshly shaven, not quite as sharp as that, but like a freshly shaven flakes of sandalwood in it, which gives it to me a warm creaminess there. Also obviously after these hours the musks get stronger and stronger, and it starts to become more light in colour like a very pale orange, or even a sort of pinky pale orange. And that's when it starts to remind me of Rolling in Love. Like I say again, it's not like Rolling in Love. It's that same kind of musky vanilla with the sweetness still of the tuberose lingering. And I tell you, I still get that little bit of the kind of thick sweetness of an orange blossom, but it gets much more tender, beautiful and smoothed out. And again, obviously after 4 or 5 hours it's moved close to the skin, but this is one of them again that will give you a cloud for a very long time. So that's kind of my story with this one. So into the conclusion. Now, I've deliberately, before doing this, I've obviously got a review on Instagram as well. I also did a reel on Instagram. And what this fragrance is to me is like a summer storm, like on the evening as well, because you start off initially with that kind of lovely orangey, the orange blossom, that kind of orangey, dark orange smell is like a sunset. But all of a sudden, when the pepper comes through, it's like a storm. But all them colours and all them smells that are still around on a summer's day are still in the air. And you get that pepper coming through, and it's quite a blast of a storm, but it's a very quick storm. And then as the storm kind of passes by, goes over, it simmers down again into that summer's night. But it's got a bit darker and a bit clearer, and the sky's starting to get a bit milkier, and still with that orangey pinkness from them florals and that, and it kind of just settles down. On a summer's night it takes a long time for it to go dark. That's what I think with this fragrance. It slowly mellows and mellows. It's not one that just switches mellow. And obviously after a storm, there's that tension, there's that feeling, isn't there? There's that edge. We've got our chemicals bumping around our body and stuff. And I think as the musks start to come through, it gives that kind of thing. That's quite a waffle for this, but as you can tell, I really love this fragrance. And there's, like I said, there's a few notes listed, but there's a lot in this, a lot more to it than that. And there's definitely things, like I say, like orange blossom, and maybe a bit of orange in it. I get hints of sandalwood and such like. But all in all, I absolutely love this fragrance, and for obvious reasons, it's a special one to me. Right, a very brief, quick one from me. Have you tried this? What's your favourite from La Costa? Obviously I love Piano Santal as well, and I do need to try a few more from them, because the ones I have tried I've kind of fallen in love with, haven't I? Right, thanks folks, bye.